Okay, so we are live. 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 Good evening, guys. We do apologize for the late start, but as you can see, we are here. So go ahead and share the live, people. Go ahead and share the live. We have an exciting program for you here tonight with a special guest. We'll start in about a minute. Let me just share the live to my Facebook groups and to my WhatsApp contacts. Okay.
Going live, wow.
Pardon? One second. How are you doing, by the way, Mondale? How are you doing mentally with everything that's happening across the world with the pandemic and so on? How are you doing? Mondale, like you froze, boy. Hello.
Pardon? I'm
Can you hear
outside,
me?
huh?
Okay, so I'm asking with everything that's happening, how are you doing mentally? How are you doing mentally?
You.
Hello?
You're gone with you.
Hello. One
Hello? Can you
second,
hear me
one
now?
second, one second, one second. Just give me a second. Let me just try to rectify this problem. Remove.
You getting me good enough now?
Yeah, one second. I'm trying to remove some of the destinations from the live. So trying to see if that's gonna help us. One second.
Mm-hmm. The internet is coming on and off.
Okay. I don't know what's happening. I guess it's because it's raining. Is it raining heavy over there on Norton Street?
Princess Street.
Princess Norton. Between Princess and Norton.
In the tenement yard.
Oh, jeez. So, Mondel, I was asking earlier, with everything that's happening, how are you doing mentally?
Um, let's just say that I'm connected to the right source. Hence, where my sanity is concerned, I go from the standpoint of being not religious, but more so um, one who's connected to the right source, to the point where whenever I feel a little off or I feel kind of like disturbed about any situation, I would normally say and remind God that He said that He has not given me a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and a sound mind. And so if I feel like I'm shifting or drifting, I start to say, "Big man, you going on, buddy? I drift.
Jesus.
You say you made me spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and a sound mind. Now I feel like I run a mad, so
You believe?
you can say,
Mondel, I would just like to put this out there, right? This is not the forum to be correcting the way I speak, okay? I just want to put that out there.
I will not correct you. I
This
shall
is not the
I
forum.
I shall try my level best not to.
Thank you very much. So for the few, I mean, you're one of the most popular person here in Guyana, but for the people who may not know who Mondale is, you want to give us a brief description of who Mondale is?
Mondale is an almost 44-year-old individual who is a free spirit, loving God, but aside from loving God, I like being as real as ever. And I'm not afraid to tell you and speak my truth. I don't believe that anyone has to subscribe to my truth, but I do believe that I should be allowed to speak and live my truth. Um, I love people. I don't think that people quite often love me back. And it doesn't matter what your issue is or your situation is. People could have pointed to me that you would have done the worst in the world. I still see potential in every human being, and I believe in giving chances to people. But when I plug out, I plug out.
When you plug out, you plug out. I was just reading one of the comments. Somebody said we can hear you both clearly, so that's good. So where in Guyana did you grow up? Did you grow up, Mondale? Where were you born and raised?
Well, I was born in Henry Street, that is Werk and Royst, it's Dutch for work and rest. And then I grew up about the place like in East La Penitence. And then from East La Penitence, I lived several other places. But I got most of my groundings from being in the Workmanville Lodge community. Aside from that, I've lived in Suriname and several other countries. But Guyana is my home.
Okay, so who did you grew up with in work and rest?
Working in Roist, I had the unfortunate experience of growing up with relatives because my mother was from an abusive relationship and she had to run or she would have been dead. And I was her last child, number 25. And
Whoa,
yes, she made a lot of children, twins galore. Could I tell you that my mom also told me that I was a twin? But
wow,
my brother didn't make it. I did. And I'm the only one to survive from all of the twins that my mother made.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
so
Easy. When I was born, was as a result of my dad at that time, who was a bad boy but became a good guy afterwards. He was having a confrontation with my mother, and we kicked her in her belly, and so she jumped through a window. That is her telling me the story there, and she landed on her feet, but she started to experience labor pains, and so she went to the doctor. That's what she told me. When she was rushed to the hospital, where instead of um, when I was born, but my brother came out first. That is what I was told. But he was dead already, and the doctor said that this one is going to die too. But then there was an Indian doctor from India, I think it was at the time, and he said, no, this baby will live. But my mom, after I was born a squeak, looking like a little big rat, you know. And, and after that was done, I was basically not in the care of my mom for all of my life. Most of my life, I've been in the care of various people. Some I wish not to remember, but I've forgiven them already. And aside from that, let's just say that I grew up with lots of people in various circumstances who did not have an appreciation for me as a human being in many regards. Hence, that is why I love human beings more than ever. And I normally reach out to people who would be going through stuff because I've been through stuff.
so I don't know if you would want to share, but what are some of those what are some of the the challenges you would have faced while growing up there in Henry Street? You said unfortunately I grew up with some relatives. So what are some of the challenges you would have
Let's just
faced?
say after my mom ran and left myself and my two siblings, um, I didn't get the permission to speak about this, but I can speak about my experience.
Definitely.
My mom ran from an abusive relationship where she would have been dead because the man used to cut off her hair, and if a man only swooped at her, I was late. And my mom actually became pregnant for a good friend in the army at the time who was helping her out. He took advantage of the fact that she was a pretty woman and she was in need. And so that was it. I was not a planned pregnancy, and I have no issues with that. What God has done for me has made me realize that everything happens for a reason. Now let's go this way. Um, After my mom ran, I grew up with a lot of people, some who really ill treated myself and my other siblings, my other two siblings, the small ones. Um, there was physical, verbal, and even sexual abuse, and I'm not afraid to talk about it because as a child, I was subject to lots of sexual abuse as a child. Um, and then afterwards, when I would tell those that are old enough to understand or to be able to help me, they didn't help me. And they told me I was making up stories and so on. I remember one time um, walking in the middle of the street in Henry Street there, and um, in my mother's high heels, by the way, yes, as a little lad, saying, calling for my sisters and saying, "Mommy want y'all, Mommy want y'all." I remember clearly. It's like an out of body experience that I had then. But I do also remember the experience of not getting any food while everyone else was eating, um, and I had to look on as they ate because I was supposed to be a bad child. And the sexual abuse came from relatives, male relatives, and that was it basically.
So if you were given a chance to go back in time and give your younger self some advice, what would that advice be, or what would those advice be?
I personally have not thought about that, but if I were to go back in time, I'd be very honest with myself and say, run away. But then again, if I ran, then I wouldn't be the individual that I am today, right?
Okay.
I grew up being what some would call the most soft or effeminate guy, and I was always accused of being all manner of things simply because I tried to understand my emotions.
Okay.
Because at one point in my youth, let's not even with toddler years going into little boy years, I was of the opinion that it seems as though every male that I came into contact with wanted to touch me inappropriately. That was before I got to live with my Mr. Smith, who was the bad boy, and my mom sent myself and my sisters. I remember, not my mom, my aunt. After my mom ran away, sent myself and my sister in a Vauxhall car, a gray Vauxhall car. I'll never forget. We were in Henry Street, and the aunt put us in the Vauxhall car with plastic bags and told
Wow.
the driver to drop us off in Freeman Street and drive away.
Wow.
That's exactly what he did, and that is how we were welcomed into the Smith family. Not all of us were welcome because I was an outside child, and so I was reminded up until my aunt passed away a couple of years ago. She always threw it in my face that I am not a Smith. And I would one time I got so rude I answered her. I said I could never be a Smith at that time because look at me. I like to read. You guys are done. Don't care how much licks I collect. I had to tell Shida, right? It's not that all the Smiths are done. So I just answer more and tell her something.
That would
And,
hurt her feelings.
and yeah, and my aunt also, she had connections at the office of the president at one time. That was in it was in the 80s, 90s. And when I ultimately wrote Common Entrance at that time, my aunt got every other person in the house to go to schools like not Richard Ishmael, to the Bishop's High School, the St. Stanislaus College, the St. Rose's, to Allen's High School. But my aunt ensured that I did not get to go to any of those schools, even though I was supposedly the smartest. I also recall, and I could speak about this now, in primary school, I used to get licks whenever not placing first was the issue. The percentage dropping was the issue.
Wow.
So I would get licks even though I placed first in the class by Mr. Smith. I love him so much. You can't believe it. Right? And the thing is, that is an example of how a person could be bad first, and then when they're forced into situations, they become good. And so Mr. Smith cared for me, took care of me in spite of. And many times you would get angry when people would say that is not your child, this, that, and so on and so forth. And so I lived all of my life not being able to fit into any mold simply because of the fact that I didn't fit in from the get go. Um, and so I immersed myself in reading to escape sometimes my book of Bible stories. And there were times when I was old enough to cook from age 9 that I had to cook for, I think it was 16 people in the house. At age 9, I had to go to school. From school, I had to come home, go to the market, walk from home to the market, buy the stuff, come home, cook for everybody to eat, and things like that.
So, what advice would you give to a youngster that is currently in that same situation that you would have grew up in? You know, because we have seen that suicide has been prevalent within our communities and stuff like that. What are
Hold
some
the
of the
faith,
advice?
hold
Pardon?
the faith.
All the faith.
I'm not in your shoes, but you're going to grow and become an adult. And yes, people will chastise you without even knowing what your story is. As I like to say, you're not in my house, so you don't know where it's leaking.
Hmm.
But hold the faith, still find someone to talk to and tell them your story. Your secret has to be told to someone else so that something happens to you, someone would be able to say that he or she told me that these things were happening. Many of my siblings weren't even aware of what was happening to me in terms of the sexual abuse and so on. And I hated my abuser, one of them, more than ever. And I wished him dead. I attended his funeral ultimately. And
Okay.
my mom was there and she held onto my hands when I was going to say, I'm releasing you now. Um, she thought I was going to say more, but she grabbed my hand and she said, "It's okay, son." But I had a healthy dislike for my mom for a few because of the fact that I was like, it was your fault that this happened to me. But then I
Okay.
got to realize that it wasn't her fault. She was running and leaving me in the hands of relatives that she thought would be able to take care of me. And that's what most young people don't understand. When their mother runs out on them, it's not that she's ran away from them, she's run to save her life, but at the same time, she is also leaving them in hands that she believes will be capable enough to take care of them. Some people abuse the situation, but the honest truth is that the mother sometimes feel like she has nowhere to go. And so she believes if she stays, you will be put at risk even more because her presence might be the source of the anger or the bitterness that someone that is abusing her might have. And so she would think of running and leaving you sometimes in the care of the relatives of that individual, not realizing that the relatives have got their own issues with her and with you as a child who is as innocent as can be. You seem to be lost. Are you frozen? Yeah, Jamal.
1 second. Don't go anywhere. Don't go
Yes.
anywhere. We're back. We're back. Yeah. So I'm guessing it's because of the fact that it's raining. That's why the internet is going in and out. You know. So
It is not raining alone. Your internet cheap. It got update.
I got weird. All right, Monday. So yeah, what are some of the schools that you would have attended, Monday?
Okay, so I attended the Mansfield Mildred Nursery School, where I was always adjudged the most talkative but bright. According to the teacher, Mondale is an excellent student. He is pot salt. He is Wednesday, but his one downfall was that he is too talkative. Then, when I went to St. Andrew's Primary, 1 year later than I was supposed to enter primary school, I almost did not go to primary school, but I ended up in St. Andrew's Primary School, where I was able to outshine the students there. And Could I tell you a story? Here's this one here. It sounds like Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
There was this teacher. I can't remember her name. She had a son, and he was very troublesome. He was smart, but I think that he had a lot of problems going on at home. And so he never used to write exams and pass them. So Miss, I don't know how she became the invigilator. When I wrote my common entrance, to this day, I personally believe that Miss set me up because everybody believed that I was going to President's College. Her son did done the head.
Went to President's College.
Here we get President's College. Miss tell me to write the exam and use the test papers and so on is English, social studies, math, and science. Miss told me one thing though. She said, "Don't write your name or candidate number on the paper."
Man, Mondale, Man, Mondale, you really, really fall for that.
I can't deal with it now. Yeah,
You really fall for the Mondale.
I believe. No, I was a child and I believed and I trusted in because Miss used to save me enough time with food. Miss used to give me lunch.
So somebody just actually commented on the stream on YouTube. The comment is there. Jamall Mondale, Peter Nart from America, all adult film star. Great stream tonight, right? Then he wrote, "Love my ebony co-stars."
Ruda.
Somebody from YouTube, because we are also streaming live from YouTube. So people are commenting on YouTube and on Facebook. So
Hi, Benante.
So, what are some of the countries you did mention that you actually lived in Suriname for a bit? I know you was a radio presenter, a TV presenter there in Suriname. What are some of the other countries that you would have lived in?
I worked in St. Martin for a brief bit as a newspaper editor at the Today newspaper. And aside from that, I have been able to do reports from as far as Africa, Ghana. I've done stuff in Manaus. I've done stuff in Trinidad, special features for Suriname. I did stuff in Barbados, and that's all. That's all part of journalism, to be exact. Where you get to travel a lot. It's only in Guyana you don't get to go enough place. In
Hey,
them other
listen,
countries,
you just got to go across the different regions. So you just got to go from region 1 to region 10. What are you talking about? Now, people never went to region 1.
of island is the thing that people are say in other countries.
Off island, okay. All right.
Yes.
Well, you got to be specific.
I know Guyana from the back to the front, upside and down. She's a proper woman with a fantastic shape.
Especially at the top there, region 8. Proper.
Somehow you sound like you're talking about the women them are the in region 8. You're talking about
I talking about the entire region.
anyhow, back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
So now, as relates to education, then I attended Christchurch Secondary School. My father was very disappointed because he would drop me on the bicycle, the Atlas bicycle, to go to school. And he gave me the HB pencil and he said, "Go and beat them." So when I get the results and I hear that I got Christchurch and this boy got President's College, I started calculating me head right away. I said, "There's something wrong here." When I tell my father shut him out. It doesn't matter which school you go to. It's what you do while you're at the school that will make the difference.
Definitely.
Right? Christchurch actually happens to be one of the top secondary schools in Guyana at present and has been for quite a while. That aside, I did a little bit of GTI. I did a little bit of Critchlow Labour College. I did a little bit of University of Guyana. I did some other courses with Ohio University and so on. But basically, I am just someone who likes to focus on education. And so I read like crazy. That's my escape always. And that's it.
So let me ask you something. What is one of the biggest misconceptions people have about Mondale Smith?
Boy, I don't know that is a misconception, boy. Me never lie. Right? I don't know what misconception. They believe that I plug out easily. But I
Oh,
understand very well that If a child lives with criticism, he learns to
But
condemn.
Mondale, I never heard you plug out. I've never seen that side of you.
If you hear me plug out, you would beg me for stuff. And I only plug out when I hold you to high standards and you make my hand fall.
I never saw you plug out. Never, ever, 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 ever saw that.
I never use, anytime you hear I use the F and S word, and anytime I'm arguing with you, right? It's simply because I still care and I still see potential in you. But the minute you see me get quiet and you just know I done, I give up. I don't know
So,
what to do thereafter.
what about rumors? What is one of the biggest rumor that you would have heard about yourself that is not true?
Boy, I hear so much rumors, me know which one. All them big. A rumor is a rumor. They ain't a big rumor, small rumor. A rumor is a
Well,
rumor.
a rumor. What is one of the ones that you was like, what? People is actually saying these things about me?
Um, One time I heard a thief $100,000 from somebody, and I went in the states living the best life with 100,000 Guyana dollars.
500 US, you're lying on there.
I, the only thing that fight was piss me skin, not pee, piss my skin.
500 US.
Yeah. The other things like the things that I hear. One time a young lady, because I exposed her, right? Oh yes, here's one of the things. People believe that I like to attack people.
Okay.
And I am very controversial.
No,
It's
I
not
don't get that. I don't get that vibe from you at
if I
all.
stay quiet, if I stay quiet, you're too soft. And you need to have an opinion. When you give your opinion, you're too self-opinionated, right? When you stand up for something that you believe in, we can't deal with it because he's an upstart. So
Mm,
it's a no-win. It's a no-win situation. But I intend to be me until the day that the good Lord says, "Hey, breath of life, out, purpose, done, move on."
definitely. So, you know, let's play a game. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call some names or some words, and you'll tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Okay?
Yeah,
Politics in Guyana.
crazy.
Selfie boss. I see recently you guys have been doing a lot of stuff together.
You say call him one word and let me say something now.
Selfie boss.
Misunderstood.
Misunderstood. Baby Skello.
I'm speechless. I think
That is rare. That's rare coming from Mondale
I
Smith.
think if I'm allowed to pontificate, I would,
Pontificated.
I would say, for want of a better word, Baby Skello has potential to be one of the better comedians in Guyana. He's an
Not an
entertainer.
artist.
I know he's an entertainer and he understands that good or bad publicity is publicity.
All right. Nicolette Henry.
A beautiful soul that is misunderstood and who means well. She loves timelines and she sees good in people in spite of, often attacked and often um, underrated. Means well for Guyana, not as a politician alone, but as a mother and as a human being. She loves God from my experience of working with her, and she always sees potential in people.
Okay. Being your own boss.
That is my, um, you know, it's a blessing from God to be an employer, but your employees can fuffle the whole situation by. Yes, go. I now see. I went to Fon Roger and I saw the boss lady collecting the money herself, and I was like, "Why is she taking the money?" I said, "Why doesn't she employ someone?" And
Take the
then I
money.
got an understanding. Bye. Family friend, dog, cat, don't trust them with your money.
Mm, mm, mm.
But that's another story. Um,
Final one.
as
Oh,
an
continue. Go ahead.
employer, as an employer, I would say that everyone deserves a fair chance,
Hmm.
but sometimes they can screw you over.
Definitely. And finally, the last one. Mondale's Kitchen. What comes to mind?
unique, authentic Guyanese cuisine, spiked with a bit of all the other countries and cultures and experiences that I have been privileged to experience. Uh, it caters for a true representation of Guyana and dining at another level. However, it comes with lots of standards. Standards so high that even the staff sometimes ain't able with it. And then Mondale's Kitchen, like give people back the money or give them a special offer. You don't like the food, don't bring it back. You want back your money, you can have it. Or
I
would you like for me to buy something for you to the same value from another restaurant? That's the kind
okay.
of thing that it is.
I bought some wings a couple weeks ago, and I now realized that I didn't like it. Is it possible I could get back my money?
You need Jesus, you want him in powder form or in water form?
Anyways, moving on. What a lot of people don't know about Mondale is that Mondale is actually a father. Mondale, how old is your eldest child?
Children,
Your eldest child. How old is your eldest
twins,
child? How old is, I can't say how old is your eldest children.
twins,
Now, oh, well, okay. How old?
25.
25?
Yes, heading 26.
Wow. So you was busy, Mondale. You was busy.
The big woman took advantage of me and I went back. But
So
somebody else back.
what would you say is the best thing about being a father?
I have not been able to have the full opportunity to father, and to father does not mean that you had to bring this child into the world, you're the biological father. But to really be the example that I should or could be, because I'm always busy. And I think that this happens to all people who are popular and always busy and in the limelight. They sometimes neglect or they take for granted without even realizing it the reality that their family need them more than ever. And they believe that their family would understand. It's kind of like a selfish thing because you're out there looking after the best interests of everyone else,
Tell
and
everybody else, yeah.
sometimes your family suffers in the process.
It happens with most businessmen. You have at some point you will have to make a decision to what is more important to you, your business or your family, and you're gonna have to sacrifice one.
Or you
You
can
know, a lot
try.
of
You can try.
it's hard to balance both. Trust me, I've had conversations with many business people, and that's always one of the challenges that they face. You know, when it
Yeah.
comes to balancing family and their business. So it's just two kids alone you have.
The youngest one is 24. The jury is out on the other one. And
No,
the
how
other
many kids
one,
you have altogether?
I know about, I have,
Oh, jeez. You see, we know
let
about.
me see, the lady, see, ocean, rose potato, English tea.
Take the seat.
All those
How it
here.
goes here.
Okay. Um, I can comfortably say I know of four, but the jury's out on one of the four.
How much boys? How much girls?
It will be three boys, one girl.
Okay, nice. So the twins are boys.
Twins, a boy and a girl.
Oh, boy and a girl. Okay, so do you have any grandkids? Is Mondale
Yes,
grandfathers yet?
yes, I have two.
Monday, you're a grand.
Now you want to ask, how is it? Huh? Yes, go ahead, sell them. Yeah. 35 and 35. See, doing business even now, people come for buy cake.
Business never ends, man. It never stops.
7,000 for the two.
So yeah, he was about to say
Two twos. They're on over there. Yes, go ahead.
you're a grandfather. Mondale is a grandfather. Two grandkids.
And the red like cockery.
Wow. So well,
Oh, the one thing people don't know about me is that my mother, she came from mostly East Indian family.
okay.
Yes, and most people don't believe that I have any East Indian in me. Period. But they need to see the straight here on my chest, etc. Um,
That's
yeah.
not for this show.
No, just etc.
don't be promoting sales of that kind on this show.
What you mean?
It's
At
okay.
least,
It's okay for you to talk about your black cake, but
yes.
we ain't going down that chess road.
No black. So why you go on Facebook and be this and displaying and got people data whining upon you on
Because
Facebook
because
and so.
I'm no longer a public servant, so I could do anything.
But even when you were a public servant, you used to do anything.
Well, that's true. That's true. And it's because I'm like you. I'm like you. I am my own person.
Watch
Whatever
yourself
makes me
before
happy, I
people,
do.
watch yourself before people put you in the wrong bag of fruits.
The wrong bag of fruits. Another wrong bag.
You do it off my go supermarket, left it alone. Let me move on.
Look at the plug. Look at the plug. Look at the plug. I love it. Look at the plug. So, we've seen an increase when it comes to teenage pregnancy in our community and within the region and internationally. What are some advice you would give to young parents when it comes to how to deal with kids and how to prevent themselves from you know
The,
getting into
the
that
one
kind of
that's
situation?
pregnant, wait. They got several levels here. You got those that are not pregnant yet, but possibly might become because they're living at risk lifestyles. Then you have those that are already pregnant.
Yeah.
Let's start with those that are being misguided because you see our culture in the culture in Guyana is as such that if a girl sees a boy that she likes and she goes home, she tells her mother or she tells her father, is she likely to get chased in the car now and tell you better focus on your book
Mm.
as opposed to preparing what using that as a facilitator. We use it as a barrier, and that's what
Mm.
most parents do. It's supposed to facilitate a conversation where you present scenarios and the child then decides, based on these scenarios, I will listen to what mommy have to say. It's not no, yo, get for me. Look, you ain't past me, ring a boxing you. You're talking about man and things like that. We need to move away from that culture in Guyana and most of the Caribbean, right? In terms of those that are already pregnant, I want to say to you that my mom became pregnant at 15, and she didn't die back then. She lived to tell the tale. She made lots of smart children. Well, I'm the on the head, but that's another story. But the truth of the matter is, your future isn't determined totally by that one choice. And while many people might say that becoming pregnant as a teenager is the end of your life, having worked in the education system, I know that there are programs in place for mothers to be reincorporated into schools. And I do encourage you to get an education. See, the thing about life is it's not how you start, it's how you end up based on your choices. So even if you are a teenage mother, there's WAD in Georgetown. That's called Women Across Differences, that you can talk with them, and they will be able to give you a sense of direction. They cater to the needs of teenage mothers. There are also many other organizations and individuals. Oh, and by the way, I can take a little lash in the church and the church and the mosques and the temples with this one here. Y'all are supposed to be leading the flock or devotees. And as a result of that, you're not supposed to dash the girl one side and throw her out to the choir and all of that because you think that it's going to set a bad example. I'm saying girl because the girls will feel the brunt of it. The boy is be considered a star, right?
Mhm.
But and what happens also as a teenager is that you need to work on a not necessarily a sexual relationship continuously or as a continuation with the person who you would have become pregnant for, but you need to have at least an open line of communication so the both of you can raise the child. And also parents need to stop putting out their daughters because they say you shame your whole family because it's still you dirty laundry out there. And if some when you lose her to the wilds of the enemy, that is the people them who want lash it and so on,
Mhm.
till end up with 25 children. I mean, some might turn out smart and talkative like me, but that's another story. right?
So what are some, yeah,
But I would say for teenage girls, you can wait. Yes, your hormones raging, and you'll hear this. This is like cliche now. You would have your hormones raging, your teeth a ting, whatever. I'm not saying you should. Abstinence is the best way to go. Given the fact that aside from teenage pregnancy, you put yourself at risk of contracting HIV, which is not a death sentence, by the way. You can also become contract lots of STIs, sexually transmitted infections, and that can alter your life forever. And if you opt for abortion, I mean, it's your body. But based on my belief and upbringing, while it is your body, I believe that God has blessed you with a gift there that can change the world for the better. And if you become pregnant, it doesn't mean that you have to take an abortion, but it's your body. You can opt to if you wish to. But just know that those that are rooting for that will not be dealing with the scars that you'll be carrying in your head that cannot be easily sutured or fixed. Because when you, let's say you take an abortion, I even went to the point of writing a piece when we were having big discussions on abortion, before they ultimately decided that a woman should have an abortion if she it's her body. She should feel free enough to have an abortion if she wants
pro choice, yeah.
pro-choice. And I am supporting pro-choice to some degree, but I'm also not supporting it, because if um, you are already pregnant, I don't believe that no mother, no father, nobody should be forcing you to take an abortion because they shame,
Okay,
right?
makes
Because
sense.
when you grow older and you can't make children,
That's
you
another thing.
can be at fault for that.
Yep,
Suppose you take an abortion and you die.
that too.
Have you put yourself in the place of a fetus? I'm in two worlds where everyone is hopeful we're alike, but our chances are doubtful. Resting and waiting for a future unknown, something tells me you're not alone. The race is on, we're swimming, unsure of what's to come, striding, believing. Yes, you're the one. Yes, I'm talking about a fetus, starting from a sperm and an egg.
Hmm.
Storms raging, river rising, soon life will begin. Is this it? Is this all that I'll ever do? No, says a voice, one more journey for you. Then you go, there'll be flowers to pick, songs to sing, bikes to ride, and cones to lick. So many things to see and do. I'll even at times visit you. Oh boy, oh God, my world is changing. This is a fetus. My fingers are melting. My body, it's burning. Mommy, save my flowers. Why me? Why now? What did I do? That's an abortion,
Yeah, wow.
where you have to become the fetus to understand the whole kerfufflery. But
Definitely.
if you choose to have an abortion, it's your body, pro choice, go ahead. As long as you can live with the mental scars and emotional scars and possibly the physical scars, you do you. It's your body. I remember I went to the US, the home of the US ambassador one time, and they asked me to MC and they asked me to recite two pieces, and I recited that same piece there. And a woman who is, forgive me for saying this, barren as a brick. I don't like to say this because I don't like being disrespectful, but she scarred me. She ran up on the stage and snatched the mic to tell me I don't have no right to be playing a fetus on stage because a woman's body is a woman's body. I said, they asked me to recite a piece. I did a piece, right? Afterwards, I met her a few times and I understand fully well why she is as miserable as she
Yeah,
is because she ain't
she had
got
a view.
a child. She, as Mrs. says, she ain't got a pole to piss in, much less a window to dash it through.
Wow,
So she's
that's
living with a whole heap of regrets, and she
mm,
thinks that she must was it impose upon others her pro-choice stance because
mm,
she's hurting,
wow.
right?
That's crazy. So, so Mondale, what are some of the values and morals that you would have learned as a child that you're now passing on to your own kids?
Forgiveness,
Forgiveness. That's deep.
forgiveness. You're only human, and every experience teaches you a lesson. However, what you do with the lesson will determine whether you be bitter or better. That is to
Bitter
say,
or better.
that is to say, something bad happens to you, don't only wallow in self pity. But ask yourself, what can I take away from this experience? What can I take away from this experience to make me bitter or to make me better? And that is what um, I normally recommend that people do. I learned this when we were doing the Marundai script writers workshop many years ago with the US government sponsored, and Nicolette Henry was the person in charge there. I didn't even know, right? That was CDC, yes. And we wrote the script for Marundai. Auntie Maggie now manages that. And Mr. What's his name? Roan. Yeah, Mr. Roan. He said, the one thing about life that we must all understand, and he was very dramatic, is that life offers you lessons. But if you wallow in self pity, you will learn nothing because
Mm.
life is the school of hard knocks. You use the lessons, soak them up, and determine whether you are going to be bitter or better.
That's
Because life offers you barriers and facilitators, but you have to decide if they are going to be barriers or facilitators. You have the choice then.
mm, that is deep. That is very, very deep. Definitely. So let's talk about Mondale's kitchen. Tell us, what was the inspiration behind starting Mondale's kitchen?
So, as I said, I cooked for my family, well, the people that I lived with, from since I was 9. But I remember when I was about 7 or 8, if so old, that I had to cook one time. When Daddy went out and he take long to come back, and everybody hungry. And fronting me, like the Kero stove, put on a pot of water, and you know the sago.
There you say go.
Take the sago and throw it in the water just so. And I
Oh,
saw it thing getting thick.
so-
Sago and plenty water, and everybody hungry. And when my father came home, Mr. Smith, and he heard that I had lit the stove and we had done the
say go.
lighted the stove and we had done the sago, he put us all to sit down. That's in Fremont Street, and he said, I could be angry, but I'm not. I want you to understand, and this is where barriers and facilitators come into to play. You could have burnt the house down and kill your siblings. That's one.
Or you could have
But
started it.
yeah, but what I will do is I will teach you how to make sago porridge moving forward. So that if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it properly. That was my first lesson. He didn't cut my tail. Some parents would have fling the child into a wall and wipe them all over the
Mm,
floor. But you can use these little mishaps to become opportunities for intervention. And so because of that, I'm able to cook. Many of my relatives thought that they were pressuring me when they were forcing me to cook food for all the people. Aside from me getting to eat the most meat when they're looking,
mm-hmm.
that's thief in the meat. Because they got tasty meat to see if it hard or soft.
Definitely. I just do it up to now. I
When
just
I
taste it hard as stuff.
when I done cook, I remember one time my grandmother pelt a knife at me, bladang, because I asked, "Mommy, how come I get the fish head alone?" And that's my grandmother used to call it. And I cook the food, and all of them who playing whole day, they get the best part of the fish. They said, "Why you don't move your auntie, man? So and so, blang." One night, I barely move out the way, knife stick in the wall.
Wow.
Next time I get a pot, spoon lash across my face, pataks. Because I asked again. But the thing is, I always mouthing up from a little child. Me ain't afraid to ask you a question or to tell you what I think.
Mm-hmm.
But the inspiration for cooking started this way. As I was in several countries, St. Martin, as well as in Suriname, I just like cook and show people. I just like cook, and cooking is therapy for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I shall see you in the morning, right? Or come back in a few tomorrow morning. Yeah, I'm on. I'm on live. I'm on live. Go in the name of the Lord Jesus. You your tank top. Back to the drawing board. Yes. Anyhow, so I cooking food and showing people how to cook it. And one day I was cooking crab because I did bitawiri and all of these things and so on. And just me alone, I know I cooking up a storm. Mommy said to me from since I small, she said, at least when mine comes with her, Just cook food. I'm like, but it's going to waste. She said, no, it's not. When you cook food, people will come.
Mm.
And I've always lived by that code. But in terms of the food cooking, getting into the kitchen and so on, I always liked cooking. And then Facebook came into being, social network, and I started posting my food as I was cooking, just having fun as a journalist at the time
Yeah,
and cooking news and
I'm
so on.
disgusting looking meals, yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
And
continue.
while I'm cooking and showing, let me fast forward quick because I'll take a little too long winded. Uh-huh. One day I cooked crab and I had more than 70 requests for a taste.
Mm.
I couldn't give everyone a taste. So I
Mm.
started selling crab.
Okay.
And that's how Chef Mondale's Kitchen was born.
Okay. So currently, what are some of the different products that you guys have available? I just heard you was talking about cakes,
Well, it's
stuff.
Christmas the festive season. We deal with food based on seasons and the
Okay.
demand for. We have Essequibo rice, which is done by my stepsister Annetta. She has perfected the art and she has taught me how to do it. That is a combination of vegetables and rice in coconut milk. She does an excellent job at it, and she's taught me how to do it. Aside from that, the crab curry is the number one seller.
Okay.
Prawns in coconut milk. In terms of Guyanese dishes, I like to cook a nice callaloo, but I don't sell them.
Okay.
That's the me. Grilled chicken or I can barbecue chicken, but I still take time out to support my boys at Grill King because they've been supporting me from day one. That's on Mandela Avenue. Aside from that, we do macaroni and cheese pie. And at first, people used to think that macaroni and cheese pie is only for Christmas time or special occasions, but they get it any day, anytime. We like soul food bad in this kitchen. And we get ideas on how to produce things like swank in your tank. That's beverage, right? We make things like the snapper stopper. That's fish broth, but it's called snapper stopper because it's not done with just pieces of any old fish, but with snapper. We do things like what else do we do? Now we do nothing, ma. Rice pop.
Listen, rice pop. I was now about to say I saw the guy came home from New York and he was requesting rice pop, and
Yeah,
then you
people
made
like
rice
rice
pop.
pop, but
And you didn't even call my favorite thing from Mondale's kitchen,
what's the
wings. The wings.
ma here, no man? I don't call wings because people start bothering me for wings, and I don't own a fowl farm. I tell you, I don't own a fowl farm, but some people believe that you are supposed to be Houdini and perform magical tricks. And then when you go to the market, chicken wings are very expensive to come by. And then there's
Wow.
called, how many pieces am I getting for this amount of monies and so on. I'd be like, I don't count. When the ancestors them tell me throw in the box, I throw. When they tell me stop, I stop.
Mm.
Same as with the flavoring of the food. I don't do 1 teaspoon of this and 2 teaspoons of that. And
Really?
yes, I don't.
So therefore, your food be tasting different all the time.
No, I perfected the art of just sprinkling things. And the thing is, the one thing that goes into the pot that most people don't put into the pot is the love. And it might
Mm.
sound like an
Made with
old
love.
to me.
That is important, Joe.
Love cooking, don't cook
Man,
and tell nobody.
I
They're
could
not
attest to that.
because
Because
my customer base stretch, and this is boasting here, but it's called testifying. They stretch from places like out of Guyana. A woman came from Africa and she said that she heard about Chef Mondale's kitchen. She wanted to try cricketer. And that is the day that I cooked cricketer. I never cooked cricketer before. I just cooked the cricketer and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then a lady came. Another one came. She says, I'm from somewhere in America and I want cricketer. And I'm eating it from Chef Mondale's kitchen. I've had Cubans come to my kitchen, Haitians, Africans in general, though Haiti is not Africa, by the way. Just for those that don't understand it, right? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so
I've had people come from many parts of the world, India even, and come into the tenement yard. It's not a tenement yard, but since they
why
all
this that's what I'm saying. Why do you call it a tenement? Yeah, it's
because it's
not.
catchy, it's
It's a
catchy.
scheme yard.
It catchy, and I like throw shade.
Anyways, Monday, I
It's
was just
By the way, the yard that I live in, the name of it is Critchlow Scheme.
Critchlow
built by
scheme.
Hubert
And
Nathaniel Critchlow.
the scheme yard. That's why
It's a
it's called the
scheme
scheme
or a
yard.
plan that the government had at that time for to provide housing for the working class people. It
Yeah.
was a gated community at one point, had a
Mm.
guard hut outside and all of that. And
You have
everybody
to
used to
state
walk
your
in.
name and who you're coming to before you
Yeah.
enter.
Yes.
So I was gonna tell you this story about this girl that I used to date once upon a time. This girl couldn't buy the rice to save her life, but guess what? She used to buy the rice with love. So even if it was poppy rice, I used to eat it because it was made with love.
The girl give you type E.
What's she give me?
Type E.
What's up?
It's a thing that them girls put in your food that make you can't do without them.
So this why I'm still in Guyana. This that's what you're saying.
I don't know if that is the reason, but what I do know is that the girl rate type E.
But
And
this
you
girl,
take type E for she.
money is something else. So how many locations do you have currently? I just saw you recently open a restaurant.
It's an eatery. I call it that. Some people call it a restaurant. Why? Because the ultimate objective of Chef Mondale's kitchen is to one day not just have kitchen, but have an eatery, have
Okay.
a restaurant, and have franchise around Guyana, the Caribbean, and the world. And so, how do I get there? I had to start somewhere. I started in my own home kitchen, and at the
Mm-hmm.
time, COVID was really licking piss, for want of a better word or a term. And
Mm-hmm.
while everywhere else was being closed down to eating out and so on, people started to come even more. They used to come a lot before, but nighttime, they wanted
Yeah.
food to eat in the night. Guyanese does eat in the night plenty. And so I started
Mm.
doing food and so on, and it worked well. The one on Church Street, that's a Jamrock Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
That was as a result of negotiations with Fabulous Homes. They're the owner of the Jamrock Cafe. And so we decided that they called me, they wanted me to become a cook. I said, I'm not going to be an employee anymore, but an employer. And the other thing is, the reason why I started to expand even more is because of the fact that during this pandemic period, lots of people lost their jobs, and lots of young people have been written off by many
Mm-hmm.
people for various reasons. But we all got our flaws.
Mm-hmm.
So I provide an opportunity where they get a chance to come and work and earn top dollar. All I can tell you is some people just work whole month and don't get the week salary from my staff.
So do you have any vacancy?
For what?
For me, like I'm sure I could fit in somewhere,
First of all, you don't know to cook.
but I don't have to know how to cook to be working in a restaurant or at an
You
eatery.
want wares?
I could wash wares. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I could wash wares.
Then people say the Rasta boy with a ring in his nose, he might sneeze on the plate.
But we
But
wear masks. So
on a serious note, if you are in desperation for a job and you can
desperation.
handle me plugging out when you step out the line, I promise you that you're going to be good. Oh, by the way, congratulations on your new post at HBT, HGP, was it?
HBTV Channel
HB,
9.
HBT.
HBTV, White Blackman Television.
Oh, I want to know if it was HBT TV.
Yeah. You were saying you was congratulating me. Yeah, continue.
So congratulations, and I know that you will do well
Definitely.
as a creative director. I don't know what that entails, but I think that the channel could do with some upgrading in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the technical abilities, and I think that they can do well. Um, I think that they're on a different uh, threshold, for want of a better word,
Mm-hmm.
or sorry, not threshold, on a different path,
Mm-hmm.
and it can work. It can work. I remember
So,
once I was asked to do marketing for the station, but because I didn't want to get engrossed in politics, etc. at the time,
okay.
I said no, thank you.
Okay. But does Mondale's Kitchen need a creative director? Is that something that you think you guys need?
You want to walk around like Andres O'Brien and say, put the tie the ribbons there?
I don't want this surveillance. Sorry, I'm not going to reply to that
You never. Oh yes, you weren't the other day.
the other day.
See people who will
Also,
see artsy people.
artsy people, okay.
Yeah.
But a creative director,
Construed as being gay people.
okay, okay.
Sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. Some are metrosexuals, like you can be at times, and some are homosexuals,
Yeah,
right? Some are bisexuals and some are trisexuals, but they're all human beings with
we are all
special
human beings.
to see light in a dark room,
You
special ways
gotta
to see light in a dark room.
you gotta change that cheap ass internet, man. That internet you up there,
And
man.
the internet is people calling me.
I tell you to put your phone on airplane mode. I
I miss
can't
out
be
on
you.
no stop and miss out on an opportunity to get probably a little $60,000 or $70,000 tonight.
You see that we got people that's viewing from all over the world right now, man. Just to see he love his Ebony co-star. You know that's what? That's a link right there. You can
That
get fly
man,
out next
first of all, let me stop. First of all, that man got a own picture. I don't know if it's a man, a boy, a girl, or a dog.
week.
I
he
don't know
said
that he's rich,
he,
and I
he,
don't know
he
that
said to them, Peter is his name.
that are nothing
Peter. How much poor
in,
Peter
in,
you know?
in the world. Oh Lord, I stop calm now. I'm
How
call
much
y'all.
poor Peter you
Yes.
know from North America?
Peter from North America.
Yeah.
Peter is a Caucasian guy, right?
He is a Caucasian from Long Island.
Oh, he's from Long Island. Oh, my
Yeah.
sister is in Long Island.
Yeah. Good
I
so.
remember going to Long Island a couple of years ago, and while I was
Mhm.
dancing, the Caucasian lady said, "Oh my God, that black guy sure can dance."
Ah, somebody, what is the most demanded product you have there in Mondale's kitchen, man? What do people come for
The
every single day?
people come for crab curry, swank in your tank. They come for everything, right?
Swanky.
Only thing that don't sell in the kitchen, I've tried it a few times, is curry chicken. But they like curry crab and prawns curry from me, but somehow they don't like curry chicken from me, or it's chicken curry. Which one is it?
I
Anyone.
don't know.
They
Whatever
don't
it
like
is, anything that I can't just put in my mouth and swallow, I don't like at all.
that
So
song like.
crab,
You
no,
just send my
pause,
mind into a whirlwind.
pause. I gotta say pause when I make certain statement. But any kind of food that I
Yeah.
can't just put in my mouth and just chew a couple of times and swallow without thinking that I might swallow a bone or something I don't like. Crabs and those shellfish and all
And
these.
did you just say swallow a bone? Let's move forward.
Tell us a little bit about the charity initiatives that you're currently a part of, man.
Um,
Monday.
it's not all what this thing was supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Oh, we started late.
Okay, I just checking
This,
because I see
this,
1 hour and 3 minutes.
this is the final segment. We need to talk about those
Okay,
charity initiatives that you have. Or we
charity
can cut.
stuff.
Hold on. We can cut off right now. People don't need to know that you're a part of a lot of charity organizations.
It's your choice, you see. But since you ask, I might as well talk.
You make this up talk.
The thing is, I gotta be frank with you. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. And there are many times that people wear plastic smiles and they've got needs. They need help.
Mhm.
Whether it be sometimes mental help, where people speak into their lives and cause them to fix their emotions, because a lot of people are emotionally broken, mentally broken. The physical is quite often the last stage. But you
Mhm.
can't come to me as a pastor and I tell you that I'm hungry, you tell me, let us pray. Feed me first, and then we will pray.
Mhm.
And that's it. My mother, I've always seen my mother's house being open when I got a chance to meet with her. I've always seen her house open to strangers, complete strangers. And I've always seen my father, Mr. Smith, Dennis Smith, always ready to help.
Mhm.
And so, as they say, what children reflect is what they would have experienced or seen. And I've always seen my family involved in charity. My second eldest sister, she does it all the time. Myrtle, she's always helping somebody. But from since I was in, let's say, nursery school days, if I carry the school bread and it's bread alone, and another kid next to me, just know the kid eating half of the bread. That's just how I am. But these charity initiatives that we've got, it's not about Mondale. It has never been about Mondale. So you wouldn't see Mondale posting up pictures and photographs of himself as the chairman of nothing, doing nothing, no way, no how. When Corona started, all I knew is that people needed help and something had
Hmm.
to be done. I used the little resources that I had, and God made a way with the rest. People got involved and supported people like BK, Brian Tiwari, and others offered a bit of support. And people from time to time, some people would call and say, I see you doing things, but I only got a little $500 could give you. And I'd be like, whatever will. But I don't necessarily am interested. I'm not interested in collecting your monies. If you could buy the stuff, I would give it out. But at present, because I'm so busy, I refer people like Selfie. That's
Hmm.
Captain
He's doing
Selfie.
an awesome job, an awesome
Yeah,
job.
I refer people to other people, right? If I can help, I do. And if I can't, I wouldn't decide that I'm going to hog it because the time that I'm going to hog it and not get it done, other people can get it done. And so
Definitely.
we do things like Wortmanville Vanguards. It's been dormant for a bit, but we're going to work on that again. Then we've got, I'm the de facto member of Youth for a Better Living, which is run by and chaired by
Hmm.
Kelvin Selfie Fortune. And there are many other organizations that reach out to me asking me to do things. I used to do a lot of work with Food for the Poor, pro bono, in the days when this man who started it, I can't remember his name, was alive. But all in all, if I could take the shirt off of my back and give it to you, so that you can be comfortable. I know that the things that I've got, that they're material things and they're temporary. And I know that God will make a way because I do believe that there is a God, and God will make a way. So I will help as much as I can, even if it means that I am going to be out by
With it.
half of my meals. Now, for clarity, reference to charity. If someone gives me 100 US dollars, I will spend 200 US dollars. So
Wow.
it's like I'm matching it. Sometimes I don't
Okay.
even know where I'm going to get the rest of monies from, but something happens. Someone calls me to do something somewhere, and they pay me just what I need to get it done. Sometimes I would go to my refrigerator and empty it totally. Go to my cupboard and empty it totally. Because I deal
Okay.
with feelings and the human aspect of life, where you must have a heart. But in the process of being a giver, you must also understand that the Word of God says that when you're giving, right, you should love your neighbor as you would yourself, not more than yourself.
Mm.
I used to be doing a lot of loving my neighbor more than I was loving myself. My neighbor meaning anyone that come into contact with me and
Oh.
wanting help. Give them my whole plate of food and starve and things like that. But then one day I got a rude awakening. Hey, you have to be as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove. You can't be cruel to yourself to be kind to others because then you are hurting the source from which things are coming from. And if they're in need and you hurt yourself, then you won't be able to help them nor yourself. So what
Definitely.
you do, you have a plate of food and a neighbor or somebody comes and asks you for some, cut the food in half, give the person half. Don't give them the whole plate of food because then if you starve, it's good for you.
Mhm.
Because that is
Definitely.
not wisdom.
Definitely. So, for persons who may be interested in contributing towards whatever charity drive you have, how can they reach out or how can they get into contact with you?
There's my Facebook inbox. But please, if you're gonna call me and ask me to, I got $50 and I want to do something, and I want to video the people and so on. Just know that you could keep it $50. You send me $1 million and you say you want the pictures of the people them to be shown on Facebook. I probably will film the people from the neck down, but dehumanizing people because they're in a state of need at this time. right? I think it's the most crude and cruel thing. At first, I used to do it, and I used to be like, I think I'm doing a good, but I wasn't. If you do something with your right hand and the left hand got to know about it, then you would have received your reward right there. But do it as if you do it unto God. Food for the poor. Their tagline is, "In as much as you do to the least of your brothers, that you do unto me." So
That's right.
if ever you see anyone in need of help and you can, and the thing about charity work generally for all the people around out there, you don't have to have $1 million. You don't have to feed a hundred people. If you've got enough to give at least one person a hot meal, like paying it forward, you would have done a good deed. And it doesn't necessarily have to go on Facebook. The
Okay.
reason why I would film the food that I'm cooking is because I got some upstarts who got big hearts and want everybody to know they're doing something. They will come. I want you to put this on Facebook. So what I would do is I film the food.
Okay.
Promote me food, isn't it?
Definitely. So
But
what's
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, what's next for Mondale Smith as a brand? What is next? What can we
Well,
expect in the distance future?
could I say that I believe in seasons and the changing of seasons. And again, I'm not going to get religious. I'm going to get um, into my relationship with my ultimate creator, though I'm not a saint, a bishop, a preacher, or a pastor. I don't profess to be any of the above. But I do believe that seasons change, and it's up to you as an individual to recognize when your season has changed from one thing to the other. I was ministerial PA, and man, sometimes I used to be like, I can't wait to quit this job. I can't wait for this job to be done. Not because of the minister, but because of the people that you've got to interact with and interface with. Some people are ungrateful to the T. Ingratitude is like witchcraft. And anyways, what you've got to do, like I think of, is I recognize that my season has changed from being in the media to being one who wants to serve. And I did tell God a long time ago, I don't want to get back into the media and become a news anchor and a reporter and dealing with politics and so on. But I want to serve anyhow. And I got a call to come and serve for 6 months as a public relations officer at the MASH Ministry of Culture at the time when everybody else refused the job. And after I did that, then I was asked to stay on and become public relations officer of the ministry. But you know the technicalities where finances are concerned. And I'm not going to leave what I do normally for far more money to go and work for far less. That's a disservice to yourself.
Definitely.
Hence, I ended up with the post of ministerial PA so that I could have gotten more monies. Other than that, I wasn't a politician, but I understand as a public relations officer that you've got to defend your publics, not just the people. You're answerable to the publics, not the people that seeing you and you got to tell them stories. The people that that are in charge of you, the organization you're working in, you've got to defend their name to the T and their character. And so as a result of that, it is anybody who's employed as a public relations officer their duty to fight for the rights of, even when people are wrong, because image is everything in PR. Marketing, however, is where you get financial returns. I do lots of that too. I can tell you that, as I said before, back to what you asked me about my season, about what next for Mondale. I know that the kitchen is my vision, and people will come and they will go. I know that I'm moving beyond kitchen to the Chef Mondale's for branding of a whole heap of things and bringing people under the umbrella. I know that this business is going somewhere and it's taking people along with it as I create opportunities for people and in the process also for myself. And so, therefore, tomorrow I know that I'm going to be okay. It might not be right away as in tomorrow, but the next day, as long as I've got the breath of life within me, I'll be working towards ensuring that this vision that God has placed within me for a time such as this becomes that which it should be. a full, booming, fruitful tree so others can benefit from it. So that I can leave an inheritance and a heritage for those that came after that would have come after me.
And you sound like you rehearse that statement all day.
I live it.
You live it. Well, that's good. So
So
before we
some
go,
people will come and some people will go. And I
before,
understand. Some people will attack me. But I understand. Go ahead.
before we go, do you have any questions for me?
Why you pick me and I like talk so much?
Cause I know you would have carry past, we got our marker, we would have get some more views. And it's
That's
good for me and the brand. Yeah.
um what I would like to ask, not just you but your viewers, is have you ever really considered when your season has changed? Or have you ever tried to figure out that you used to plant rice on a field and the field is still fruitful and you're planting rice, but it isn't selling no more? That is a sign that your season has
That's
changed.
it.
The field needs to become cash crop field as opposed to rice. And as soon as you can recognize that your season has changed and you have to go through the process of being the seed that has to go down into the soil, lose your protection, that is the coat that the seed would have lost, to bring forth its full potential by bursting out into the soil, knowing who your support base is and from who your energy comes from. Have you considered those things? Have you considered that you were supposed to be dead but you ain't? And what do you propose to do while you're alive so that when you are dead you will live on? Absent from the body, but present in the memories of people who will be speaking about you. Why? Because, as they say, memories don't leave like people do.
Definitely. So where can people get to know more about you? Is it on
You want
his
them to know.
Facebook? Is it are you on are you only on Facebook, or do you have an Instagram? Do you have a YouTube channel?
I have not considered a YouTube channel, even though people have asked me to do it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm mostly on Facebook,
Okay.
annoying some people and causing some people to find God,
Hmm.
looking for their God. People call me and say, "Bro, I had the bottle in my hand, I was going to drink it, and then you came on and you said some things, and I'm like, that was not me. That was me in my element. It's raining too much. Don't leave.
Hmm.
It's raining. What? You got an umbrella? Then go. Everything is all right. You put everything where it's supposed to be. Bless you. Have a good night. See you tomorrow morning. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So what I'm recommending to all people, follow me on Facebook, and I'm not responsible most times for some of the things that I say. As I said, I am a free spirit and a free soul, and my only obligation is to the ultimate creator of all things. Other than that, I'm not obligated to do anything that I do not wish to do. And
Definitely.
I encourage all the people to understand that while others might not understand you or don't care to find time to understand you, be your best authentic self, understanding that you were born for more. The Word of God says, and I repeat, I, God, know the plans I have for you.
Jeremiah 29 verse
Might have
11.
written you off. And some people might think of all the bad that you would have done. There's walk with files about the things you used to do. Because the things you used to do, you do them and more. And some people actually do that. But when you get to the point of your relationship as opposed to your religion with God, the things you used to do, you do them no
No
more.
more.
You do better. And you're able to stand and say, yes, that was the person you knew. But this is the new person. Look a little closer
Definitely.
and see that I have changed. I'm not the one I used to be. My life has been rearranged.
That's actually my favorite verse, my favorite Bible verse that you just recited there. Anyways, before we go more, I would just like to take this opportunity to basically thank you for everything that you're doing here when it comes to, promoting Guyanese culture, whether it's internationally, whether it's locally. Because I see from time to time, you're in the fish market, you're in schools, you're all over giving people props for what they're doing and promoting what they're doing. And we have a close relationship. I've known you for over 2 decades, and
We're
you
friends,
know,
man. Hope people take this thing and edit and sell to me, you in a relationship.
we in a relation boat, Monday. Not a ship. It's not the old ship. It's a
Good.
relation boat.
And I just
Yeah,
want
and
you to know that I will always support you. And if you've never
well,
heard it,
let me give you your flowers. Then you can talk to me. You like talk so much.
man, and I tell you now,
But I
I
giving
want
you flowers.
everybody to hear me say, I
All right,
love you.
I
I love
love you too,
you,
bro.
my brother.
All
And
right,
I
good.
genuinely love you from my heart.
I know
I
this.
do
But can I
believe it.
give you your flowers? You talk this
Thank
whole
you.
interview.
I tell you
That's
like
all.
that.
It's all 1 hour, 20 minutes. You talk a whole hour. I only talk 20 minutes. Can I just talk now? Yes, but then what I would like to say is that we appreciate you. I appreciate you. You have been an inspirational figure to me. You have been a great motivator. My favorite artist, who is Tanya Steven, you were the person who actually introduced me to Tanya Steven when she brought out that album Revolution. I remember I was sitting in the car and he was like, Jamall, listen to this song. And it was Do You Still Care by Tanya Steven. From then, I fell in love with Tanya Steven. You actually, and then you also, one of the things that I still do up to date like today is something by the name of Soul Search, whereby I get up every morning and I look myself in the mirror. I got a small mirror, so I can't do it completely naked, as you mentioned a couple years ago. So I just look myself in the mirror from the chest up. And I just ask myself questions on a daily basis, what I want to do, where I came from, where I want to go and stuff. And that's all because of what you would have encouraged me to do. You're very, very supportive when it comes to everything that I would have been doing ever since I came back to Guyana. And even before I left to America, it was one of the reasons I got into media and all of these things. It's too much to mention. So I would just like to, to say to you, thank you. I love and I respect you and I'll continue to support you. Even if I only buy your meals once a year, know that
Nothing. Oh, no, nothing.
know that you have a brother. You have a genuine brother and a friend in me. Thank
Ahmad.
you, thank you, Mondale. Continue doing the awesome job that you're doing. You're changing lives, bro. You're changing lives. And
I hope
look,
you do better.
there is people who got money, who got all kind of popularity, but guess what? Guess what they're not doing that you're doing? They're not connected. And that's the difference. Once you're not connected, it doesn't matter what you have or what you do. You have to be able to connect to the people. You have to, and that's what you're doing. You're connected to the babies, you're connected to the adolescents, you're connected to the elderly folks, you're connected to everybody from all walks of life. So thank you. Continue the good work, Stephen. Monday.
To God be the glory, great things He has done. And as my friend,
Definitely.
I want to promote something right away. I'm pulling this top off a little bit.
All right, man.
2 years to get it to me. But look what it
Peace and
stopped saying.
Benzie. Peace and
Hi,
Benzie.
Bobby. Yes.
Okay, so big up Peace and Benzie, man. One of our most talented musicians here in Guyana.
I
You
saw
know.
you with a camcorder in Giveland the other night. I don't know what he was doing with that. Because we don't do camcorder no more, but he's still doing a thing.
Big up Peace, and I like this consistency. Anybody who's trying to promote Guyanese to the world, Guyanese culture to the world, I am a fan of them, man. I'm a fan of them. Anybody who's not just sitting on their ass and waiting for things to happen,
I
I will,
did.
I will support them. I will support
I
them.
did.
So,
I
so,
did.
so give us a last plug of Chef Mondale's Kitchen before we go.
For the best, or at least for an opportunity to taste of that which is an authentic Guyanese dish or any cuisine from any part of the world that is influenced with that Guyanese flair, check out Chef Mondale's Kitchen. Right? Right? Get your belly full.
Get your
And
belly full.
also get the authentic Guyanese flavors from Chef Mondale's Kitchen. 646-6402. That's the number you can call. We've got Christmas baskets available. We've already sold more than 150, but we're aiming and going all the way to 300. If you ain't want the basket, buy one for somebody in Guyana. You ain't coming home, right? So do like what the songwriter said, barrel the barrel come. Buy something and let me make sure the people them get it. Each one reach one, teach one, encourage one, motivate one. That's all that I want for you to do.
Definitely. And on behalf of everybody here at Intoxicated TV, but it's only me alone. I just always say everybody, as if it's an entire team. Thanks for
So
being
wait,
here
who
with
was
us.
the girl that called me then?
What? Who was up?
A girl called me and asked me if I'm ready to go on.
A girl call you not if you're ready
Oh,
to
you
go
think?
on.
Yeah, I wasn't even imagining things.
Mondale. What scandal you trying to put me? What scandal you trying to put a single man in? Eh? I got people viewing this thing,
You
Mondale.
say, why you want to put that girl on Facebook and she that bouncing Shabati on top of you?
Because I'm a humanitarian, Mondale. That's what humanitarian does. I serve the people of the country.
you you service the people you're sharing.
Anyways, to everybody that was tuned in, to everybody that's viewing, thanks for encouraging us to be a part of your evening. And for everybody that's viewing on YouTube, remember to comment, like, and subscribe to our channel. Feel free to share the broadcast and feel free to message us and let us know who you think we should feature next. This is Intoxicated TV. I
Well,
am
you
your
should
host, Dale
introduce
Adams.
yourself.
I am your host,
Introduce
Dale
yourself.
Adams. Pardon?
Introduce selfie next.
Okay, well, we'll definitely have selfie next week.
And then there's a woman who's been fighting HIV, AIDS quietly in terms of dealing with the pandemic of supporting people with HIV and AIDS and having this fancy thing. Her name is Rochelle Cameron. She's coming into the country. They all
That's
white.
that,
Yeah, about those people.
that's my auntie. You don't
Well,
even know that. Yeah.
you got to interview she.
She was supposed to be put on all the seasons, but them people in America, oh, they be busy.
Not America, New
Yeah,
York.
New York, not America, it's New York. All over America is New York. Yeah, she lives right in Market Street. I live right in Pineapple. You was there the other day. Yeah.
Coming.
So, yeah, I know she's.
We got
I know,
big
yeah.
yard sale with one of the things when she come to.
We're gonna do a live from there and stuff and promote it. Definitely. Definitely.
Blessing.
So, all right, then. So, good night to everybody. And remember to tune in next week, same time, same place. This is Brian J. Adams. I am out. Peace.